Why should you join the Livingston County Republican Party?
Why, you ask?
Yeah, why?
Why join?
The Republican Party is the party of common sense.
Common sense.
Republicans support the Constitution.
Republicans protect your rights.
We fight to keep your children safe.
We fight to keep boys and men out of girls' and women's sports.
We fight to keep boys out of girls' restrooms.
We fight for you.
What does the Republican Party do?
We help Republican candidates get elected.
Why is it important to elect Republicans?
Why is that important?
Why?
Tell me, why is that important?
Livingston County is one of the safest counties in Michigan.
Livingston County has one of the lowest crime rates in the state of Michigan.
Livingston County has the lowest tax millage rate of all 83 counties.
Republicans work to balance the budget.
Republican legislators vote against raising your taxes.
Republican elected officials believe in transparency.
Republican clerks run elections with integrity.
Republican trustees protect your rights.
Republicans support our veterans.
Who can join?
If you are conservative, we want you in our party.
All conservatives are welcome at our table.
Join our activities.
Join the fun.
Become a member.
Join us now.
Hi, I'm Deb Drick, chair of the Livingston County Republican Party. Our conservative message has been very well received in Livingston County, and I'm so happy to share with you that people are stepping up right and left to help. The only thing's missing is you. Come join our mission. Come join our fun. Go to livingstonrepublicans.com and click join. You'll be glad you did.
Welcome to the right side. And with me now is the brand new 7th District Chair, District 3, Livingston County Commissioner, Frank Sample. So welcome, Frank.
You're very active in the American Legion.
Correct.
You're very active in the VFW.
This ideology is very damaging to the students who are told if you get this surgery and make do the social transition, the medical transition, then you'll be happy and all your problems will be solved. Learned so much.
I'll bet. That's some institutional knowledge right there.
And we have, as a special guest, as I said earlier, we have Kevin Rinke with us. Welcome, Kevin. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Go Boge. Thanks, Kelly. There are no shortage of them. We love meeting new people.
Right, yes.
It's in good shape, so that's good news.
That safeness is not afforded to every citizen. They are special.
There's a difference between men and women. There's a biological difference, and it's time for us to stand for our girls.
He went through, and he came back with a report that there's no way Detroit can meet its obligations on the tax base.
Yes.
So is this DEI focused just on the high school, or are they talking about all
district, the entire district?
Maybe that's kind of normal. It's really not. There tends to be little fiefdoms with different police agencies and police versus fire and fire versus EMS and blah blah blah. That's not the case here. So Livingston County is very fortunate.
Hey, not too long ago, in many of our lifetimes, Detroit was the 3rd largest city in America.
Oh yeah,
3.2 million citizens. It's been a great experience. I mean, I have no regrets about moving here.
There's an old saying that the road will get you elected, the jail will get you unelected. So, to give you an idea.
You have to have a reason to change for change to be enacted. Hello. We're sorry. We're having technical difficulties all over the place tonight. Good evening. Welcome to the Right Side podcast. I have a battery now. We have all the parts that we didn't have before, so we're happy to be here. Tonight we have a special guest. I'm going to bring him on right now. Welcome back, Tom McMillan, who is the State Board of Education member. He is one of 2 conservatives on the entire board, and boy, they've had some real battles here recently, haven't they? Haven't you?
Yeah. Deb, thanks for inviting me on. And yeah, we had a big battle Thursday, and the Dems who are really siding with issues like that 20% of the population agrees with, that boys should be playing in girls' sports and in girls' bathrooms. I mean, these are the radical left has really taken over the Democrat Party, and you saw it on display on Thursday.
So tell us about for anybody that missed that. Tell us about what that was like, what happened, what it was about. Start from scratch here.
Sure. Yeah, we have. They wanted to update the health standards. The department did. They haven't been updated since 2007. Quite frankly, I'm not sure that they really needed to. But back in 2007, they were 14 pages. The one that they passed this past Thursday was 74 pages of standards. So, and it was just chock full of left-wing advocacy, and it went out for. So what happens is they brought it to us in September and said, hey, we want to send these out for, and it was 54 pages at the time. We want to send this out for official public comment. And they put it out there for about a month. People log on to the website, the department's website. They fill out a form. They make formal public comment, and then they present us the results. Well, that formal public comment, 78% of over 1,200 people who replied and gave public comment, 78% opposed the standards. And yet they went forward. They took the 54 pages, added 20 more pages, and then put it before us. They didn't change anything. They didn't take anything out. They just added a bunch of stuff. And so, they certainly weren't listening to the will of the people. And yeah, I mean, it passed 6-2. Nikki and I, we tried to remove it from the agenda at the beginning because it really was not ready. They obviously hadn't made any changes based on public comment, the formal public comment. They only made it worse. And so, but then that was voted down, it came before us, and that we had, there was, several hours of public, people coming and giving the informal public comment where they can give right after lunch and before the vote. There was 80 some people that came to the, in person, and then another 50 or so called in. And the Democrats decided instead of giving them 3 minutes, they only gave them 1 minute, which was ridiculous because I said, hey, look, this is important. We only meet once a month. These people drove hours to be here, take a half a day off work or full day off work. We ought to listen to them and give them 3 minutes. And it was ridiculous. I mean, there's a lot of experts that were going to talk on our side, and they had to just, they had to all of a sudden at the last minute shrink it down to 1 minute, speak real quick. It was just ridiculous what the Democrats did to them. There was one expert on the Dem side who said, you need, I think it's been going around, Tom Leonard sent it around and others, the clip that some scientist said, scientists know more than parents do about raising kids. And so that really
that's right out of the Dem playbook.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, but after those several hours, the Dems went right to, and one of the things I tried to make a motion, or I did make a motion to amend the standards, at least one area, because it presents as factual. Let me see if I can find this. That right here on for 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, as young as 6th grade, define gender identity, gender expression, and sexual orientation, and explain that they are distinct components of every individual's identity. And then explain how biological sex, gender identity, and gender expression are distinct concepts and how they interact with each other. So they are saying, they're saying that it's a fact that you can have more than two genders, that, a boy can be a girl. And I said, look, at least say that some people believe that this is the case. At least make it factual, because even at the hearing, the House did a great job, had an oversight hearing, and the interim state superintendent testified, and Chairman DeBoer, DeBoyer, I think is his name.
Yes.
He asked her, how many genders are there? And I don't know if you've seen that clip, video going around. I think it went national, but she just hummed and hawed and eventually said, well, some people believe that there's, more than, there's many, and just, it was outrageous. So she talked about it not being a fact, but being a belief. And yet they wouldn't at least amend this one, wouldn't have made it much better, but at least it would have made it so that the teachers shouldn't be telling the kids that it's a fact that, that there's more than two genders and boys should be able to go in girls' bathrooms. And, it was quite the debacle. I mean, the Dems, Deb, for the last, I've been there almost 9 years, Nikki and I, and from time to time, resolutions come forward and we're able to offer amendments. It's a good thing of having two people there because one can make the motion and then you can get a seconder and then you can force a vote. So from time to time, they bring something as a resolution that is not binding, but at least we try to make an amendment that would talk about this transgender and boys and girls bathrooms and all this. And they just squirm. I mean, they know that this is a losing issue for them. As a matter of fact, in Europe, the polls are showing that they're changing on this issue. They used to be all in on transgender agenda. Well, they're moving away from it in Europe. And I think it's moving this way as well. So I don't know. I mean, I think the Dems are going to pay a price at the ballot box, whether it's at the 35th, the Senate, that special election in the Saginaw area, because the president, Pam Pugh of the state board, is kind of the leading Democrat, odds on favor. So if she's, is their nominee, well, she needs to pay a political price for what she did on Thursday. And I think we could flip that seat. And, the Dems are, the House put up that resolution opposing all this. And some of the Dems ran and hid, I think 7 or 8 of them. But most of them went on record saying, no, they're going to side with the 20% of Michiganders who think that buy into all this gender ideology.
78% responded they were not in favor, and they went ahead and did it.
Right. Exactly. And
why put out a survey? Why put out a poll if you're just going to do what you're going to do anyway?
That's a great point because, we've seen standards, English standards and math standards, and a lot of them are pretty woke. But I've never seen a majority opposing the standards, let alone 78%. So it was quite revolutionary.
It's not like it's just 51%. Just a couple people voted, didn't read it right or something.
It was crazy.
That's flagrant.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. That's egregious.
Yeah.
So what does this mean? So what does this mean for the average school? It just means that all these genders are now locked in. Is that in conflict with anything federal?
Well, this is a good point, Deb. They wanted to pass this because the baseline for 100% of the districts and charter schools will be these standards. However, we do have local control. So those districts that have people that are good people on the boards, that have parents who are going to come to their board meetings and say, do not support these standards, they don't have to. I even got them on record saying, that a local district doesn't have to have any of this in their health standards. They could just say, we're going to have the same health standards we had last year. And, that was, based on, hygiene and alcohol and tobacco and dental health and vision and things like that. That's in the statute that says this is what healthcare or health class needs to be. So, those are, those will, schools can go and do that with no problem and reject these standards at the local level. But we know, and they know that, there are districts and people who will rise up and oppose them. But the vast majority of the state is going to be indoctrinated with this stuff. They either have bad school boards or, people aren't really alert to this. I will say that, one thing that we're talking about is if they do sex education, including any of this gender ideology in any of the classes they're teaching, and any of this other woke stuff, there was a lot of other woke stuff, they must have a sex ed advisory board. And so, people can get on that. Anybody who's watching should go to their local board and say, local school board and say, hey, I want, or apply, just call and say, I want to apply to be on the Sex Education Advisory Board. It's by law supposed to have 50% parents and clergy. So, I mean, that's a kind of an action item. I don't think this is an item, an issue that should go away. So we really, the battle is at the local level now. They don't need to put any of this stuff in there. They don't have to have a sex ed class, but if they do, it can be very, somewhat benign. And the Sex Ed Advisory Board really kind of decides those issues in the sex education. So, I mean, we are a local control state. And so, it was clear. But one thing, Deb, is that if there's any of the stuff that's going to be taught, this sex ed, the law says is that parents are supposed to have the opportunity to opt out ahead of time. And so if they're going to teach, some of the stuff that, that we were talking about, they're supposed to say, parent, give them warning several weeks ahead of time. But there's no penalty. I asked this question to the department, and I kept really getting them to answer. And currently, there's no penalty. So if they decide, they just, and we've heard testimony from people that said, yeah, I mean, they just said, sorry, oops, I told, I indoctrinated your kids with, left wing, they're really.
Sorry, my bad.
Yeah, they're really sexualizing our kids. Yeah. These standards, by the way, things like nutrition and vision and dental and all these things that are in statute, they're only mentioned in these standards 151 times, where sex and gender are mentioned 253 times.
Oh my gosh.
So there's just it's really creepy. I mean, these Democrats are really into sexification of kids. It's I said this is kind of a groomer's dream, these standards. And it's very telling and disappointing, obviously.
It is. It's horrible. And no accountability. There's no way to force it. No, I mean,
right. I mean, I really think that the legislature, I'm encouraging them to say, look, every incident that's not parents aren't given the opportunity to opt out, it ought to cost $5,000. The parents just suffered some damage. You just indoctrinated, you just discussed with my kids something that is, highly controversial that I didn't want discussed. They should be fined $5,000 per incident. Then they'd really wake up. Or
I think they should lose the allowance for that, for however many 10 children didn't get noticed. 10 children, right. the allowance from
or if a teacher does it flagrantly, and it's done twice, you're out or something. I mean, right. If you made the penalties serious enough, then I think that they would really buckle down, and the districts would make sure that parents have an opt out. So,
well, a rule or a standard without teeth is not a rule or a standard. It's an option.
Right. I see that all the time because I ask them, so what if there's not the opportunity to opt out? And one of the department heads said, well, that's against the law. I said, well, then what's the consequence?
That's right.
But, and they said, well, it's against the law. I said, well, they said, well, there isn't any, there isn't a consequence. I'm like,
okay, well, the against the law police won't be after them then, I guess.
Yeah. And, the way this is going to, the way it is, there's so much in here that it's just going to be kind of woven throughout classes. Potentially, it could be even other classes, not just health class. It could be an English class, although it's not supposed to be, but these standards could be woven in many different classes, actually.
Okay. I don't know if we have more technical issues or not, but I'm not seeing comments. Usually by now I got all kinds of people commenting. So if you're watching, throw a comment in there that I know, or I've got my text here. If you're commenting and I'm not recognizing your comment, that's because I'm not seeing it. This is live through my personal email or my personal Facebook. It's live through the Livingston County Republican Party Facebook. So check those out. And let's see, what's this one? You are, it looks like Rob Rod, me, and the Livingston County Republican Party are all live through that. So if you if you are on this, hit me a comment. If you're not on the comment, go, okay, all right, Tyler just tested it. That's good. But usually by now I get a bunch of comments, and then sometimes I look the next day and I see all these comments that never showed up. I recognize every comment that comes on here. So if I'm not recognizing your comment, that means I'm not getting it. Go to a different channel. Go to the Livingston County Republican Party or my site or Rob Rod and watch it from there. Anyway, so I'm sorry, Tom, go ahead. I usually
Yeah, I mean,
you have
there's
11
other
questions.
issues. Yeah, there's other issues, for example, that came up. There's civil rights issues. If a teacher has a health certificate so that they can teach health class, well, now they're being forced to teach something. If they're Christian or Abrahamic faith, they're being forced to teach something that they disagree with. It's against their religion. So there's probably going to be lawsuits. There's already discussions about that, but and there's also there is a case called Mahmoud v. Taylor that came up recently in the Supreme Court, where opt-outs have to be very clear. They can't be kind of woven and difficult for parents to opt out, and I think that could become an issue as well, because that's a First Amendment issue, the freedom of religion, and so the government is not supposed to be going against your religion like this anyway. I think there are avenues at the local level, certainly at the state level. I mean, some of this stuff could be done at the state level if we had the House. I mean, we have the House, but the Senate and the governor. So, we could be pushing, to say, look, these bills that would really fix this, that could make this illegal, we'll pass them if you give us the Senate and the governorship. There's going to be a lot of focus on that. Obviously, in the 35th is coming up, this special election next few months, with Pam Pugh being kind of the front runner for the Democrats. We could flip that seat, and that would be 1919 in the Senate. It'd be tied up, and even though the lieutenant governor would cast the majority, that the committees would be tied up 50-50.
Right.
It would cause the Democrats a lot of headaches, and
well, they would
it would be a good
compromise
precursor going into the election in November as well.
Right. So here's another question about that. I have heard that there's legislation either being created or maybe even dropped by now I've heard it two ways. One, to eliminate the State Board of Ed, and the other one to make it a department that does not have elected board members, but is a department like any other department, where the governor would appoint the chair and the governor, whoever the department director is. That's better than what we have now, because we'd at least every other time in general get a Republican head, but every other time we'd also have exactly what we have now. So,
or worse. I mean, if you centralize power, behind one person, the governor, it could become more, difficult, because decisions could be made, that are not long-term, but just kind of short-term political gain at that point. So, there are some pros and cons to that. There's also legislation to elect the state board by district, so that there's equal representation around the state. And so, that's something that I think is interesting. I've supported the concept in the past. There are things. I'm just glad that there's a focus here, because, they kind of said the secret part out loud. I mean, they really put their cards on the table, the Democrats did, and it's very unpopular. This is the kind of agenda, I think, that Elon Musk, got active in politics over this issue as well, the transgender issue and things. And there's a lot of people that are not necessarily right wing or conservative that do not like this. They know that it doesn't make, it's obviously not science. It's, especially the transgender and that kind of ideology. And it's not the only stuff that's bad, Deb. I mean, in here, there's, there's 30 times environment is mentioned, 21 times culture, 77 times society. I mean, it's a lot of, and the standards talk about advocating, making the children become, political advocates, and get into activities. And, just push some of these left-wing agenda items. That's in the health standards as well. So yeah, these new ones.
That needs to be just cleaned right out.
Yeah.
Well, what to do? So,
well,
there's a couple of thoughts out there that one, they're going to eliminate the department or at least change it, and remove a board, just make it an appointed director. You're right. That's risky. But at the same time, it seems like for 8 years at a time, we'll be able to undo the 8 years that we can't touch. But right now, I mean, I don't remember the last time we had have we ever had a majority?
Well, I thought that under Engler, under Engler we did, but I could be wrong.
Okay. I don't know. You would know before I would.
Yeah, but I mean, if two of the board members, two of the Dems are going to be up in November of next year as well. Right. So, we could lock it 4-4.
Is that something you have to do at convention?
Yeah, we nominated convention.
So we need somebody before that nominating convention in March.
Yeah.
I suppose they could still get on in April. They just would have to do it. Do you have any leads on anybody that wants to do that?
There's a couple people talking about it. I really think that, those kind of, these kind of positions, I think name ID does help. But I also think that, just talking about this issue, could really move the needle as well. But it's good to have somebody with a, good name or good name ID because, a lot of people are voting at the top of the ticket and may not know everything. Although I think a lot of the voters will be paying attention because of what they did this last week.
And I think you just pegged it right there. I mean, if you think about it, we got a big red wave here in 2024. And I am not, there is nothing anybody could say that would convince me that it wasn't primarily due to the craziness that Lansing did for those 2 years. And I've said it many times that even the Democrats, they may be Democrats, but they're parents first. And when their little girls are in the bathroom and a little boy walks in, they don't care if that little boy is a Democrat as well, or if the little boy's parents are Democrats, or the teachers are Democrats, or they're all in lockstep and hating Trump. All they know is there's a boy in their daughter's bathroom, and or locker room, or sports, or whatever. And when you have those issues, political issues are kind of here in the circle, whereas you have your job and then you have your family, but then you have your kids, which are right here. And in anything, I mean, that will block out anything else.
Yeah,
so.
That's a great point. It's not just kids, it's also grandkids, and it's also just society. I mean, even people that don't have kids, they could just see this. Is this the direction we want our society going in? I mean, just mass chaos. And, there's a lot of teachers that they may be liberal, but they don't want this stuff brought into the class. It creates a division between teachers and parents and, just distrust. And it's just, it's very unwise. I mean, they really they are captured by a very fringe left group, the Democrats are.
Yep. And it's rugged. But I feel like the more they do this, the more they, every time my little mantra is every time a Democrat does something crazy, it sends another swing voter our way,
exactly. And Deb, when I was on a call or a Zoom meeting with about 130 activists who had kind of worked over the last few weeks and months on this issue, kind of like, what are we going to do next? And one thing I really encouraged was, there's a lot of people that understand this issue right now. They're upset about it. But, in a couple of months, other things happen and they get involved with other stuff. So now is the time. I encouraged everybody to grab 10 people that are upset at their church or, at their, homeschool group or their private school or their public school, group, and just find those 10 people, get their, contact information, email, phone number, and just say, can I keep you informed when these issues, when things come up that I can, when the local sex ed advisory board meets, can we talk? Can we maybe go to that meeting when the local school board is going to be dealing with the health standards or the sex ed standards? Can I keep you informed? So if everybody got 10 people, you really, increase your influence if you can get, a good number of people, or 10 or more.
Sure. Well, as you know, Livingston County is a beautiful red hub here, and we negate the amount of red votes we have here negate our surrounding neighbors here. So please reach out. You have all my contact information. If you do find anybody willing to run, Livingston County will get behind them. We'll do what we can to help them move forward.
Good.
I imagine the convention isn't going to be a big deal for them, because I can't imagine there's going to be a primary there. But once they get the nod, we'll help them. We'll throw fundraisers for them, and we'll help them get going.
Right. But also local school board races. I mean, the focus is now on the local areas, and so we need people to run. I was at a gathering up in the Midland area a couple weeks ago, and I really believe I've served on city councils and county commissions. I really believe that politicians try to make it sound so difficult to be to be on a city council or a school board, and in order to keep people from running. Like they don't want people running, and they want to make it sound like it's so difficult, but it's not. I mean, it's just common sense.
Right.
You really have to have strong principles and common sense. And anybody that has those two qualities, could run for a local school board. And I think we're going to see more of that. And I hope that is what also comes out of this.
Yeah, we're going to make a push here. I've got our list isn't out yet. I really need to call our elections people, unless I'm looking in the wrong spot. I'm looking for the list that has all the open positions for next year. And I need that list. And once I get that list, that's what I did last year. I start checking off, I start filling in that list. So we're going to do that. We'll start our classes, et cetera, in January and February, and how to do this stuff. And we were wildly successful in 2024. We got out of 40 people or 38 people or whatever it is we had run, we had a vast majority win at the top of the ticket. So, we got a nice army of voters here in Livingston County that will, or not voters, campaigners that will kind of push people through here. But finding them, getting them to step up and willing to do it. But I mean, listen, for those of you who are watching this now, and those of you who are going to watch this on, the many times it's going to get played over the next couple weeks. If you're interested, reach out to me, Chair at LivingstonRepublicans.com, and you can, reach out to me. We'll help. We'll do what we can to help out. And Tom, again, as always, thank you for always being willing to step up and kind of explain. I mean, I think, you define the word transparency. So, you are an example of transparency. So, we appreciate your always being willing to kind of tell us what's going on, because I can remember, frankly, years of not knowing, what's going on up there, or having nobody to explain. So the fact that you're always willing, to step up and say, here's what's really going on there. So.
Well, thanks, Deb. And, I really want to encourage people. We lost this fight, but the battle is still going. And I really think that, sometimes they go too far, and the pendulum they swung it way too far in this area. Yep. And like we've been saying, I mean, even people that are middle of the road, and even some Democrats are saying this is not the direction.
Well, apparently not, with 78% of the survey saying no.
Yeah.
Approving it.
Yeah. It wasn't just a survey. I mean, it was a formal, for a month, they left it open for anybody to comment, and all the people who commented, 78%, said they were bad, and it was all in these areas that we're talking about.
Oh my gosh. Oh, well. Yeah. All right. Well, I appreciate again. Thanks for coming on. And,
sure.
Anybody interested in running, whether it's local school board, state school board, there's the right across the screen there. There's my email. Get in touch with me, and we'll set you up. Thanks, Tom. We'll talk to you the next crazy time something happens.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Whoops. All right. Okay. So, I think we've still got some technical stuff. So I've still got no comments. So give me a second here just to kind of see what's going on. All right, where are we coming from here? So let me see. I'm going to look at my Facebook because this is coming off of Facebook, which means if somebody is responding here, if somebody is writing on here, I'm going to see it. And look at my Facebook because this is coming off of Facebook. Okay, that's not it. So let's go here. So nobody's commented there. Now let's go on RobRod. All right, let's see. Can you see that comment on RobRod? Let's go here. All right. So I see Joni, and Joni, I don't see. Joni, if you can hear me, go to my page. You're watching it through RobRod. Watch it. Go to my page and watch it, and then type something. See if that works. And then if not, go to the Livingston County Republican Party and watch it in text. I'm concerned because I'm not getting comments, and it's those comments. I mean, tonight's second half of this is talk to me. Can't talk to me if we can't read your comments. So I don't know what's going on here, but I am going to figure it out. So, pardon me? A comment came through. Oh, there we go. Now, Joni, did you go to my page? Is that what's going on? Let me know what you did differently. Let me look here. There's Joni. I can see Joni now. Okay, let's see. All right, let's see here. Do I have any comments here? 4 comments. Differently. Hold on. Let me look here. There's Joni. I can see Joni now. And I'm looking at myself. That's weird. Here. Looking at myself saying 3 minutes after what I just said. All right. So Joni, you're on my page. So something's wrong with you were on Rob's and nothing was going on. Here's Jay. Parents should. Okay. Here we go. Parents should be highly motivated to vote R on November 26th to keep boys out of bathroom, girls, lockers, and sports. Exactly. And that's one of many reasons parents should be motivated to see this. So I want to see if somebody else is commenting here. What do we got here? Okay. Okay. So anyway, under your account, it arrived. Okay, so for something's going on with the RobRod account. So anybody watching on RobRod that isn't getting their comments, come to my account or go to Livingston County Republican Party. Either one of those should work. I may pull it right off of RobRod just until that gets fixed or refreshed because I think that's been going on. All right, well, good to see all these wonderful people. Here's Joni. Hi, Joni. Glad to see you. Jay's up here, and yeah, we've missed. So I can see people watching. I can see all the hearts. I can see all the thumbs up, but I can't see comments, and that always makes me nervous. So good. All right. Well, good for that. All right, so what I'm going to do now that we've got that fixed is I'm going to just go to a quick commercial, and then we're going to come back. And the topic for the evening is just chat with a chair, which basically means anything you want to talk about. You got questions, you got ideas, you got thoughts about something, just let me know, okay? So we'll be back in just a couple of minutes here.
Why should you join the Livingston County Republican Party?
Why, you ask?
Yeah, why?
Why join?
The Republican Party is the party of common sense.
Common sense.
Republicans support the Constitution.
Republicans protect your rights.
We fight to keep your children safe.
We fight to keep boys and men out of girls and women's sports.
We fight to keep boys out of girls' restrooms.
We fight for you.
What does the Republican Party do?
We help Republican candidates get elected.
Why is it important to elect Republicans?
Why is that important?
Why? Tell me, why is that important?
Livingston County is one of the safest counties in Michigan.
Livingston County has one of the lowest crime rates in the state of Michigan.
Livingston County has the lowest tax millage rate of all 83 counties.
Republicans work to balance the budget.
Republican legislators vote against raising your taxes.
Republican elected officials believe in transparency.
Republican clerks run elections with integrity.
Republican trustees protect your rights.
Republicans support our veterans.
Who can join?
If you are conservative, we want you in our party.
All conservatives are welcome at our table.
Join our activities.
Join the fun.
Become a member.
Join us now.
Hi, I'm Deb Drick, Chair of Livingston County Republican Party. Our conservative message has been very well received in Livingston County, and I'm so happy to share with you that people are stepping up right and left to help. The only thing's missing is you. Come join our mission. Come join our fun. Go to livingstonrepublicans.com and click join. You'll be glad you did.
Welcome to the right side.
And with me now is the brand new 7th District Chair, District 3, Livingston County Commissioner, Frank Sample. So welcome, Frank.
You're very active in the American Legion.
Correct.
You're very active in the VFW.
This ideology is very damaging to the students who are told if you get this surgery and make do the social transition, the medical transition, then you'll be happy and all your problems will be solved.
Yes,
Learned so much.
I'll bet. That's some institutional knowledge right there.
And we have, as a special guest, as I said earlier, we have Kevin Rankin with us. Welcome, Kevin. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Go Bode. Thanks, Kelly. There are those everywhere. We have, but we love meeting new people.
Right, yes.
It's in good shape, so that's good news.
That safeness is not afforded to every citizen. They are special.
There's a difference between men and women. There's a biological difference, and it's time for us to stand up for our girls.
He went.
Okay, we're back. All right. I hope we got all this straightened out now, and we got our comments, and not sure what that is, but okay. If you had something to say other than period, or unless you're just checking it out, but that's thanks for that check out. All right, so chat with the chair. What's on your mind? What are you thinking? Let me start off with just some, here we go, idea from our commission chair. Idea, perhaps do a point-counterpoint mini debate where an R takes the side of the Dems and another takes the side of the Conservatives. The difference can be instructive. That might work. We have to find, I want either Nick or Wes to take the side of the Dems. That would be good. Okay, we'll have to think about that. Maybe we can have something. So, 'tis the season to be cranky in the townships. Oh my goodness, we got some fun going on. So to catch people up in Tyrone Township, the last I heard there was a recall being started on one of the board members. They're not liking each other very much. You got the old guard, the new guard, and there's some drama going on over there. Putnam Township was having a rough time for a little while there, but if it's still going on, it's at least not public. So that's good news that they're calming that down. Howell Township, of course, is still in data center hell, which is, of course, taken the whole. It's killed the whole issue of the American Legion. That might have gotten worked out amongst the mess, but they're still in data center hell. And then Genoa Township now has joined the fray, in which Clerk Deaton, Janine Deaton, who was elected last November, a very, very conservative woman, walked out and said, I think she quoted in her letter, it was just dysfunction junction is what she called it, and said that she was stonewalled on every turn. So there was a big hoopla there. She left, and they immediately appointed one of the trustees, Rick Susi, as clerk. Then you have Candy Hovarder, the other trustee, who then declared against Rick. So now the trustee was appointed to clerk, is now running for clerk next year, and one of the other trustees who was angered by that, she's running against him. So that's going to be quite a hoopla. And then they had a special meeting last night. My phone blew up and told me about a special meeting in which they were fighting it out over why Janine left. So apparently there's going to be an investigation. Good. As Republicans, when Republicans fight, it opens the door for Dems. So I understand that differences happen. I understand that things need to be called out or things need to be worked on, but I just feel like I worry about this. So I do know that because the current the former trustee Rick Susi got appointed to clerk. They've got that Genoa Township now has a trustee position open. I don't know. I don't know how many applicants they've gotten. I'm not in the middle of that at all, which I'm really happy about. But you might want to, if you're interested, if you're in Genoa Township and you think you'd like to be a trustee and have a little entertainment at the, have dinner and a show, or maybe be the calming effect for that show, get on the website and make sure you fill out an application for. They will be appointing. I'm not sure. I don't think they're in a big rush, but I think they will have to within a couple of weeks anyway, maybe at their next meeting. So make sure you look at their Facebook their Facebook, their Genoa Township website, and you can find the application or the process to get appointed. So good luck to Genoa Township. Good luck to Howell Township. Good luck to Putnam Township. Good luck to Tyrone Township. And we'll just leave it there. I'd like to see everybody get along and, resolve all these issues, and it'll be good. And what else is going on in the community? Well, we held a data center town hall last night. Less people. At any given one time, there was probably 30 in the audience, but there were 3 people counting, and they said 100 total, but people were coming in and out. A lot of people got there late. Some people left early. So, but it was, I have to say, it was the calmest conversation I've seen had yet. And one of the participants kind of, not in a confrontational manner, but just mentioned, why did it have to take this to get this conversation? And that was a good question. And my only answer to that was, because when you try to have, if we were to try to have that same conversation on Facebook, there would be 750 comments, and 50 of them would be what we talked about, and 700 of them would be attacks. And I got to tell you, Sage struck again, and I cannot tell you how livid I am. And I have not made a point of really attacking Sage. And maybe this is a big old bait, and maybe this is telling me that I should get involved, and maybe I'm going to get involved. But we had a Sage member accuse my husband of being part of the KKK, and I'm a tough old bird, and I get beat on. I get when you're a leader, you get beat on. I used to tell people when I used to facilitate Leadership Livingston, one of the first things I told everybody is, if you don't want to ever get attacked, if you don't ever want anybody angry with you, if you never want people throwing stones at you, don't ever make a difference, because as soon as you make a difference, you get somebody upset. It's just how it works. And they're going to, and some of them, I mean, especially the ones that hide behind these fake names. Oh my gosh, there's some people on Facebook that are very good at digging into who people really are. And that data center group that likes to just beat on, well, their names are going to get released, because those are not real names, and we found them. So, or at least the people that have reached out to me and said, here, you want the list? You want who they really are? Okay, so that name's that's going to get released real quick. If you think you're going to just attack people with a fake name, okay, attack people. My real name's out there. I have my real name and my real picture up there, so that's fine. But I can take that. You can beat on me, and it's okay. However, making such a vile accusation against my husband, a KKK, really? Stop. Stop. Don't, especially coming from a Sage member, a Dim. Sorry. It's vile. It's absolutely vile. And I called him out on it. His name is, it's on my Facebook page. I made a big deal out of it. Tyler can look here for me. But anyway, it's, again, Operation Charlie, call him out. But to say something that vile about my husband, I'm sorry. I draw the line there. Lyle Devine, Devine, Lyle. Okay, if you look up his posts, it's all about Sage. So there we go. It's that group again. So, but to say something that vile, that constitutes hate speech, in my opinion. So that just crosses a line. So, but that's over the data center. So when you can't have a civil conversation without that kind of crap coming out, there's something wrong with people, especially when they're hiding behind these fake names and just throwing out the insults. Well, that's gonna change real quick. But like I said, the data center for, the data center against, that doesn't matter. But last night was absolutely a breath of fresh air. We had lots and lots of concerns. I'm in the middle of creating a list of, I had these giant sticky papers and I was writing all the concerns, and I probably got a dozen or more of these giant sticky papers full of notes that I'm trying to put into a spreadsheet, and then I'm going to send that out, and to everybody. Everybody will have the same spreadsheet, and they can all look at it, and it's basically what are the concerns. And geez, oh Pete's, there were some good ones. You try to look through the data center pages, and there's this one and that one and this one, and everybody's crabbing and everybody's attacking anybody that asks a reasonable question. Oh, no, you have no integrity, you have no this. So you can't get anywhere with a conversation. But this was very, very well done. And we had, the people there were, the haters out there, they were very, very clear. Don't go. Don't go. This is a waste of time. It's a distraction. No, you didn't want people to go because you didn't want anybody coming up with anything that took away from what you were doing. So I was totally glad to see not one of those haters show up, or at least if they did, they were very quiet, because we didn't get any haters. We did have one woman ask where my authority was to talk about this. What authority do I need? I'm a taxpayer in Livingston County. This is a school I pay taxes for, and if I want to be part of a facilitation here, I will. End of story. But that was the negative comment. Everybody else had concerns, and they were, they had complaints, but they also had ideas. People were talking about maybe contaminants and maybe sound. And one woman, she was very environmentally focused, which was terrific, but she was very respectful and very environmental conscious, and she had several ideas about how to mitigate, things with plants, and it was all native. She was very specific, native plants. There were plants that had really, really, really deep roots that would help filter water, and that got tall and lush and thick, that would help filter sound. And so we were talking about pollinators being planted and schools being helped, and but also people were coming up with ideas. Taryn Fry gave a phenomenal idea. He talked about maybe putting out, whether it's an insurance, someone else said escrow, something about for damages caused by. So if there were damages caused by this, then there'd be a fund that people could apply to get fixed. Whatever that would be. So those are not unreasonable requests, but I know that there's that group out there that just want to be the only, they want to be the only voice. And they were really fighting against this meeting last night, telling everybody what a waste of time it was. And that's fine. It would have been a waste for them, because I was not going to give them the platform to just yell and shoot everybody else down. But we got, as I said, out of the 12 pages, I probably have 10 full, big monster pages full of concerns. And I don't mean, 60 people stood up and said, I'm worried about water. As soon as one person made a complaint, I would ask, who else is like that? And I'd mark it down. Everybody, some people, most people, few people. And so we got it all covered without the same stuff every time. So that left really good room to talk about stuff. So I was very, very impressed with the people that came out. And there were people all over the place, for it, against it, concerned. I felt if I could guess, I would say probably a small percentage were absolutely for it. I think there was also a reasonable group out there that I think that were just not wanting it either way. But I also think there were some people that, a goodly amount of people in the middle there that they really didn't want it, but they were willing to accept it under certain circumstances, or they had questions and they weren't decided yet. They wanted the questions answered. And of course, we weren't answering any questions. We were just taking the information. So I'm going to put it out there. If somebody wants to answer with whatever we put out there, that's just up to them. I'm not going to ask anybody to answer it or demand anybody answer it. I'm just going to put it out there. I suspect if and I were the township, or if and I were the company, or if and I were the Van Gilders, I'd want to see that. And if and I were the people that were against it, I'd want to see it. These are the complaints. These were the ideas to mitigate some of them. What questions? I mean, I guarantee there were questions on there that I had never seen in a data center Facebook. So anyway, so that went last night. It was, like I said, I was super impressed with how respectful everybody was. I know afterwards I was approached by several people, many people, that basically thanked me for the opportunity. It was really Aaron, for the opportunity to discuss it like nice human beings, whether they were for it or against it. They got to have that discussion, and they felt like their voice was being heard. And that's it. And I know when that group out there, especially the ones that hide behind those little phony names, when they try to silence or they attack people that think differently, it's to silence them. It's because they don't want them to have the voice if the voice isn't saying what they want them to say. And that is absolutely wrong. I get emotions get higher. I failed, and I failed the test, and I called someone a chowderhead. Not because I thought they were stupid, because they were attacking me and wouldn't quit. And it just was, okay, fine, you're a chowderhead, I'm done. And then I apologized for it because I did feel bad, but it's over. And, that's anytime I say something, I get attacked, and you're a terrible person who calls someone a chowderhead. What did you just spend time calling me? Never mind that, you just want to, it's okay though and the data center page that swears, if you're not respectful, you're going to get deleted. The Stop the Data Center page, and then leaves that comment about my husband being part of the KKK or being at a meeting. You know what? Screw you people. If that's the kind of stuff you allow to be on your page, you have no business moderating a page. And it's basically, it's okay. If you're saying what I want you to say, you can say anything and we'll let you go. If you disagree with me, well, then we're going to censor you. Well, okay, fine. I'm sorry, that crosses a big line, especially in my world. All right, so enough about the data center. It was just a good thing, and I know that they've got meetings. Tonight's planning commission meeting, okay, they're talking about something else. And I feel bad for those people because there's going to be a line at the door, and they'll call the public, all those haters out there. And okay, fine. And then tomorrow night, it's going to be at the Livingston County Planning Commission. And all they do is make a recommendation. And again, these people are going to, not, you got to recommend a moratorium. You got to recommend this. Okay. And then you got the Howell Township meeting, which the moratorium is on for a discussion item. I don't know if they're going to pass it or not. It's kind of interesting. It's kind of interesting. It's kind of interesting because the way I understand the moratorium, that if you put a moratorium out, it is for future stuff and not this. I could be wrong, but I was told that you can't put a moratorium out on something that's already in the, in the hopper. So they can demand all the moratoriums they want. It's not going to affect this particular data center unless they figure they could just beat this down, and then the moratorium will be placed where they won't have any more. But I suspect that it's not that they want to look into environmental concerns. I think they just want to stop it altogether. So we got Pam. We hear so much about what people think may be the negative aspects of the data center. Howell, can we hear more about the positive aspects? That's a really good question. It'll never allowed to be asked in the data center Facebook pages because you will be attacked, and suddenly Don will be right there with Jay in the KKK meetings. The positives, the way how do I say this? I can tell you what the people that live by them told me were the positives, okay? Both the city of Altoona and the city of New Albany their government, their community people, their community outreach people told me that they are very, very, very involved in the community, that they have representation at chamber events and at school events and in other events, that they donate heavily to nonprofits in the area. They New Albany told us about how they built a STEM center for the students. On Facebook in the Altoona, which is Altoona, I think, Altoona, Iowa, Altoona Data Center Facebook page. Though there's a list of the grants that they've given, and it's been in the millions, where they've given, not at one time, obviously, but over time, they've given in the millions. They give big grants to schools and to school groups and to Boy Scouts and Eagle Scouts and to school groups. So there's a whole bunch of community involvement and community giving that they do. According to the farmer in Altoona across the street, he said that I was surprised he was still farming. He was kind of getting up there in years. He and his wife have lived there a long time. And he said, and it's funny because we were talking, and as he was talking, he's waving, and we're in the middle of a dirt road, we're just nothing but farmland where this guy is farming. And, a car goes by, which this is a dead end dirt road. So the fact that a car was driving by was kind of surprising. And as the guy's talking to me, he's waving to the car, and I kind of looked at him, and he said, "Oh, we love the security here." He said, they have security people that drive by at least once an hour. All the time, all day, all night. So he says, "We love the security, having that security there is great. We live here on the farm, and, we're all by ourselves. So having that has been wonderful." Okay. I know that the cities that, the city of New Albany was absolutely beautiful. The taxes that eventually come from the data centers really, really fund a lot of stuff. And they've kept a lot of millages off the ballot, according to what they say. So I know the farmer said that they bring over a monster basket full of candy and cookies and stuff like that every Christmas because, just good neighbor kind of thing. I know a couple of people didn't want them there. So this is in Altoona. I'm not saying that this company would do this. Because I can't even tell you if it's the same company, but this particular company, when two people didn't want it, they bought them out. They gave them market price plus and they bought them out. So they were, so those were what we were told. I didn't know that for a fact because I did not see the deed turning over. I saw the beautiful city and I saw the list of the awards that these data centers give out. I know this. I was in a coffee shop and we were going around talking. Both Shane Fagan and I in Altoona and Sue Dawson and I in New Albany. We just walked up to random people. We didn't make appointments. We just walked into the restaurant. We would talk to the waitress. We'd talk to the people next to us. In a coffee shop, I walked over to a group of 4 women that were sitting there, and I said, "Hey, I'm from Michigan. Can I ask you some questions? We're kind of investigating, the data center nightmare. Would you guys be okay with me videotaping you and kind of let me ask you your thoughts about it?" And they all looked at me and they started giggling and they said, "We can't go on videotape." And I said, "Why?" And they said, "Because all 4 of our husbands work for it." I said, "Oh," and I said, "Okay." And I said, "Did they work for it before?" He said, "No. When they came, 3 of the husbands worked currently, and one of them was a contractor on the construction of whatever they were building or whatever. So all 4 of them worked directly or indirectly. But they said that they loved their jobs and it was great. And they're sitting there having coffee and they said, nope, they're happy with their jobs. And, but no, they said they couldn't be on camera. I'm saying, please, we won't give your names, please. Nope. But they said, we'll just tell you though, it's a great place to work. They love working there. It's great. So, okay. All right. They do have community liaisons there that work in the community all the time to figure out ways that they can partner, be a good partner, be a good neighbor. So those are the positive things that I have heard, Pam. I don't know. I can't vouch for them. I can only tell you what I was told by the people when we went knocking on the doors. I know, I will tell you, and I played this clip. I didn't play it because I couldn't get it over. I will try to figure that one out. But it was a restaurant owner, and that guy, he said that if it weren't for the data center, this was in Altoona, Iowa, if it weren't for that data center, most of the restaurants would have gone under. And he said he sure would have. Because during COVID, everybody got shut down in Iowa, much like in Michigan. And he said, but the data center had restaurants cater in to them every single day. And he said they could have done potlucks, they could have made people do brown bags, but they put money back into the community as far as restaurants. Even when the restaurants had to close, they could go in and do a big order for lunch or a big order for breakfast or a big order for dinner because, they were on the clock stuff there. So he said, if it weren't for that data center, we would have closed. And he said there were several restaurants like that. He says lots and lots of us stayed alive because of that data center. So that's what I were told. I could only repeat what I was told. I didn't hear anything negative. I know that the guy in the communications guy in New Albany told us that there was a Google plant that had received some complaints that they were loud, and he said, or they had received some complaints that the Google plant was loud, and so the city of New Albany reached out to the Google, and they immediately jumped into action and stopped it. And he said, we haven't had any complaints since. And then Sue and I, Sue Doss, the Howell Township trustee, and I drove to the Google plant and I filmed it. And, filmed it and recorded it, and we couldn't hear anything. We heard noise, but it was like traffic noise from the road way down there. It wasn't coming from the data center. So as far as the positive aspects, that's it. I was told that they are uber willing to work and partner with the community about things that is important to the community. So I know that there were some complaints or some concern about the wells. I know that they put in their new proposal that the data center would, anybody around there that had well issues because of them, that they would immediately be 100% responsible for either repairing or putting in new wells. So there's that. So they're willing to work with their neighbors to, be good neighbors. So that's what I know, at least no, that's what I was told. Okay. So, could that be a bunch of hooey from every single person we talked to, not knowing each other all in 2 different states? Yeah, could be, but some of it, even if some of it's true, there's some stuff there. So anyway, but that, like I said, I've said this 100 times, this is not my decision to make, but I do like the fact that now we got some data, that we've got a list of things that can be addressed. Either they can be addressed or they can't. Maybe the company looks at this list and goes, oh, hell no, we're not going to mess with that stuff. That's way too much for us to worry about. We're out of here. In which case, that all those haters, I just did them a big favor. So, whatever. Or it could be that they look at that and go, oh, well, all this, we can, out of the 20 things there, we can take care of 9. One of them is ridiculous, but we can take care of the other 19. And we'll do it. So, who knows? I don't know. I'm hoping something good comes out of that. Because I just hate to see that. I hate to see, number one, I don't like drama. And number two, I don't like to see people fighting. So I hope I answered your question as best I can. I know there's fear. Fear's driving this. And, I can't say I'm not understanding, about the fear. So anyway. So anything else on anybody's mind out there? Thanks for that question, Pam. Please put your comment in. If I don't put it on stage there, if I don't put it up here like I just did Pam's a minute ago, like that means I don't see it. So put something in there, and if you don't see it, go to either, if you're on Livingston County Republican Party, go to Deborah Drick. It's my page is public, and you can get on from there. What else is going on? We're gonna have a Christmas party. I got an offer. I was thinking I was going to have it maybe here at the Victory Center, kind of a potluck, but Our very good, our very new member, but very good friend, Stephen Bearden. Some of you saw him on the podcast. He joined the party and became involved right after the Charlie Kirk. And stupid me, I did not shut my phone off, so hold on. Oops. Sorry. We had technical issues, so I was running all over the place. So where was I? Oh, Stephen Bearden, who got involved with us. He was on this podcast right after our Charlie Kirk vigil, and he was, he just kind of woke up to politics and what was going on and that. And so, and I don't mean woke, but woke up, woke up to our side. And he has the idea. Steve has quite an elaborate karaoke system. I mean, he every once in a while he randomly hosts parties in his house, or he'll go to the opera house and invite a bunch of people and say, let's have a karaoke party. He's just a good person. I really like I just adore his wife Gwen. So, but he kind of offered he was a table sponsor at our barn party and our Reagan Day, and he kind of offered. He said, "Hey, what'd be fun? Let's have a karaoke party for the Republican Party." And I'm all for doing anything different. I'm all for anything kind of interesting stuff. I think even people that don't sing would like to come and just watch others, and I think it would be a great. So we talked today. I said, yeah, let's brainstorm on that. So we talked today about it, and we're looking at a couple of places downtown Howell to host it. I thought about it here, but I don't think the acoustics here would be good. Plus, I feel like if we did this someplace publicly, and just had some fun with it, and then got other people involved, it would be a great way to invite your friends that are Republicans and might want to come and meet some other Republicans. It'd be a fun, lighthearted atmosphere. So we're kind of looking at Thursday, December 11th. The place, I talked to somebody today that I was shocked that they changed their policy, and wow, was that expensive. So no, that would be a big no. But Stephen he's supposed to know sometime tonight or tomorrow. So watch for a flyer or an email from that. Again, you can, if you don't see a flyer before long and you're interested, send me an email. It's right here, and say, send me the information on the Christmas party. I'd love to come. So chair@livingstonrepublicans.com. So Joni says, lots of discussion regarding Axe My Tax. What would happen to the data center revenue proposal? That is a really good question. From what I understand, I'm just following it. Carla Wagner is in she is in crash and burn mode. She is attacking everybody, blaming everybody. Her proposal, I spoke up about it. I was excited about it at first until I saw the formula, till she couldn't answer the questions, till I did the analysis. When I got the numbers and did the analysis, it would send. I'm all for getting rid of property taxes, but you have to replace it in such a way that you're not gonna put the whole state upside down. So Livingston County would have tanked money-wise, big time. It would have punished us for being, and it's interesting because the way the numbers worked, the more conservative and the less fat that you had on your budget, the harder it was going to hit you. Because if you got your reduction and you had lots of fat, okay, you get rid of the fat, you're fine, right? Livingston County doesn't have much fat. We have a very good budget. We've got very good, solid Republicans, conservatives running that budget. So we would have gotten hit hard. So from what I understand, it's going to crash and burn. But had it gone in, that's a good question. I don't know. What I don't know about Axe My Tax, I know it applied to home property taxes. Can anybody answer this? Did it also apply to corporate property, like business property taxes? I don't know. I don't know if it did, because if it didn't, then I don't know what they would have done. But if it didn't apply to corporate, well then, all the business property taxes would be the same. But if it included business and not just homestead, I don't know what would happen. I mean, that would have been a total. When I did all my research, I just looked at what would happen if homes went bye-bye, the revenue from home property taxes. So as a matter of fact, I'm going to kind of follow up here later on this weekend on another proposal that's being considered. It's really close, but gotta close the loops. We closed a big loop, but now I got one little loop to close. So stay tuned. But that's a good question, Joni, about Axe My Tax. I know it's not doing well. Carla is lashing out at everybody. Even people that were initially supporting her are now basically saying, okay, it's over. And not only that, she's not just saying, okay, this isn't working. Okay, we're not going to get it done. We got to do it. It's coming with angry words towards other candidates. She's running for governor, and it is attacking, and it's basically saying, well, if I don't make it into the primary, well, I'm not supporting the winner. It's just terrible stuff. And to somebody who spends a great deal of time every week putting in my time, putting in thoughts, and working my tail off to get Republican candidates elected, to hear that kind of stuff, it angers me. Anybody that says they're not going to support the primary winner, or it'll teach them for how they treated me. No, you don't have any business being in our party. Go away. Don't come here. You're not welcome. So I agree that I don't like. I always treat every single, if you're running, I don't care whether I think you got a chance in hell or not. You're welcome here. You're welcome. I've extended invites to everybody on the ballot to come here. Some of them have taken me up. Some of them have not. Most of them have, actually, and some of them haven't. So, okay. But it's not like I'm not having them because they are not welcome. It is because they have either not responded or chosen not to. I had one candidate say that he was going to, but then back out and not rescheduled. Okay, well, that's up to them. I've asked once, and I'm not going to ask again. So, but I know there are some out there that feel like, well, if you can't raise money, then we're not going to bother with you. I understand the logic behind that, because they're right. If you can't raise money, I don't care how worthy you are. Nobody owes you this position. So get out there, knock on doors, and raise money. If you can't raise money, then nobody owes you any kind of handicap. That's you don't get a participation trophy in politics. So don't act like a Democrat. So but I don't think that they should be left out. I agree they probably are going to struggle because they can't raise money, but you don't tell them they can't come in the door. I don't feel like you should, because now you're telling grassroots, don't bother. You haven't got a chance. Don't bother. Only the people that have money can do it. And see, that's where I have an issue with that. So I respect other parties and other branches. It's their choice, and my choice, our party. No, I wouldn't do that. But others do, and they believe in it. And like I said, maybe it's more efficient because you're not wasting time on somebody that doesn't have a chance. But I don't know. I feel like, okay, everybody has, a seat at this table as long as they leave the drama at the door. We've had this discussion. So that's what's going on for Axe My Tax. It is dying now that the 6-month window came and went, which means you have 6 months. It can be a revolving 6 months, right? But you have to have all the number that you have to have, whatever that is, 400,000, we'll say. If you can't have 400,000 spread over 9 months, it has to be in the same 6 months. So if you started here, with six, each of these being a month, okay, as soon as you get into this month, these signatures drop. Then this one and this one. Look how coordinated I am. And then same thing, it goes like this. So if we're here, that means anything signed here is now no good anymore. So you only have so long to do this. So I know they are at the point where I think they had these two drop, and they're here now. So, usually when you start a movement, most of what you're going to get, the biggest chunk that you're going to get in those first 2-3 months. So if you lose your first couple of months, you're going to have a heck of a time redoing it. And people are frustrated because, when she was going on about Ask My Tax and then decided she was going to run for governor. And then she told everybody, well, she's only running for governor because she wants to bring attention to Tax My Tax. Yeah. I'm thinking it might be the other way around. I know that she wanted to be lieutenant governor last time, but okay. Anyway, so she's angry at the world right now, and that's just fine. So I don't think Ask My Tax is going to go anywhere. I think she's going to stay running for governor, and God bless her. If she can raise the money and she can get there, okay. But I don't, like I said, for me, I draw the line when you should be treated like everybody else. But if you're gonna make statements about not supporting the winner or not supporting Republicans anymore or whatever else, okay, bye-bye, adios. I have nothing to do with you anymore. So that's my 2 cents. What else is going on? Tyler, what else is going on? I am appalled at what Tom McMillan said about the state board. That's crazy. That is absolutely crazy.
I know Murphy's event coming up, Tom.
What? Okay, Murphy's got an event coming up. Oh yes, we have I think he's posted that in our.
Yeah, I think I saw it somewhere too. But...
Yeah, he's got Tyler wants to make a plug for Mike Murphy's event.
If I can find it.
Okay, if he can find it, he'll send it to our way. But why don't you just, when you find it, type in the details in there and we'll post it. So let's see what else is going on. I think sometime I'm looking to get our strategic plan session on the second Saturday in January. That's typically the day we do. The location to be determined. We're going to do that, and I encourage all my executive committee members, especially, and party faithful can be there too. Anybody that has an interest in how the Republican Party should run, or what we should do, or what we could do. That is, we encourage you to be there as well. Last year we reviewed our year and kind of said, where did we meet our expectations? Where did we fall short? What do we got to do different next year? This year was, we got all our marching orders, and, we'll report out on what we did, where we met the mark, where we exceeded the mark. And I think in so many ways, I think there's a couple of areas that we might have not met the mark. One of them was in the youth chair. We had a real hard time. Spencer had a hard time, and I'm not saying this is on Spencer, but Spencer became our youth chair and then got pregnant and then bought a house into a different county and started a new job. So, I mean, when you have all that going on, you remember what those days were like. So that makes it really hard to spend your time recruiting for youth chair, and he had a hard time getting board and things. So so let's see, here's the Mike Murphy stuff right there. Stand-up comedy show December 2nd at Captain Joe's. Okay, where's Captain Joe's?
It's north or south US 23 by the Best Western there, I believe.
Okay, south US 23 by the Best Western, Tyler says. So anyway, that's
it's on his website there,
okay,
too,
it's on the website, so you can go there and look. But yeah, I don't think that Ask My Tax is going to work. And then what was the other thing we were just talking about? Now it's Christmas party. We did the Christmas party. Oh, the strategic plan. So I encourage everybody to, come to that and, get heard. This is where our ideas, we set the tone, we set the expectations, we set the plans for the year there. We don't make it up as we go along. That's a recipe for disaster. So, but I also, I other than the youth chair, which, like I said, I don't put that on Spencer as so much as circumstances. I think that most of the stuff we didn't just meet, we well exceeded our expectations. Membership, our membership is up. We have new members all the time, and I could not be happier about that. I cannot be happy to welcome. I asked Paul Funk, who is running our admin right now and our websites. I asked him to get me some data, And he said he would here when he could, but I want to set up where if Mike and Sharon Staton are watching, or if you're not, I know you're going to watch tomorrow. So I've asked Paul to send me a list, either set it up where it's automatically sent to me, new members when they sign up for the first time, or, every month or every other week or whatever, send me a list of people who have signed up, because I want to be able to reach out to people. I want the Statons, who are the membership co-chairs, I want them to be able to reach out. I want to find out, what their thoughts are. Do they want to get involved? Are they just supporting a candidate with whatever, with a check? Do they have time do they want to be part of things? Do they want to ever come to an event? Just bringing them in and allowing them and kind of encouraging them to get involved at whatever level they are comfortable. So remember that as you're joining us, anybody can get involved at whatever level. Right down here is your little ticker tape there. Go to there and join. But you can get involved in whatever level you want to get involved. If you want somebody that that you want to buy a membership and then knock on a bunch of doors, oh my Lord, you will be worshipped. If you want to work on dinners or events, we'd love you. If you want to show up and man tables or take tickets someplace, we'd love to have you. If you just want to come to our dinners once a month or our breakfast once a month, we'd love to have you. So, just join at your level, join at the level you want to. So, but we want to be able to do that. And the other thing is I want to know, somebody maybe hasn't re-upped, and I want to be able to reach out to them and find out why. What's going on that maybe something I'm not aware of, or something that's, upsetting, or, they want to get on. So anybody else have anything they want to talk about, anything going on? Any questions, any thoughts? Think about that, and we're going to go to commercial, and then we'll be right back. Let's see, right here.
The Exalted Christ Ministry offers resources to help you understand historic Christianity. Visit theexaltedchrist.com for articles, podcasts, and a video series exploring Scripture and key historical topics. Get free resources today at www.theexaltedchrist.com.
Why should you join the Livingston County Republican Party?
Why, you ask?
Yeah, why?
Why join?
The Republican Party is the party of common sense.
Common sense.
Republicans support the Constitution.
Republicans protect your rights.
We fight to keep your children safe.
We fight to keep boys and men out of girls' and women's sports.
We fight to keep boys out of girls' restrooms.
We fight for you.
What does the Republican Party do?
We help Republican candidates get elected.
Why is it important to elect Republicans?
Why is that important?
Why? Tell me, why is that important?
Livingston County is one of the safest counties in Michigan.
Livingston County has one of the lowest crime rates in the state of Michigan.
Livingston County has the lowest tax millage rate of all 83 counties.
Republicans work to balance the budget.
Republican legislators vote against raising your taxes.
Republican elected officials believe in transparency.
Republican clerks run elections with integrity.
Republican trustees protect your rights. Republicans support our veterans.
Who can join?
If you are conservative, we want you in our...
Okay, all right, we're back. So, I don't see any other comments up there. So, just to say, let's see, what do we got coming? December 2nd, I have Anthony Ferlini to come here. She's the Secretary of State candidate. And I will be starting to line up in January and February. I'll be lining up meet and greets. And rather than do a whole bunch of singles, I'm going to do some clusters. I think it would make it better. We'll do one Attorney General candidate, one Secretary of State candidate, one gubernatorial candidate, and kind of rotate it that way. We'll do like 3 of those. And then, having maybe Lena out here as the U of M regent. She's the only candidate we have. I haven't met the other one yet, but we could invite them too, just to be able to, get to know her. I know she gained a whole lot of support when she came out here. She's just so full of energy and full of passion. And everybody needs to meet our people. So we're going to be doing those, but it's really great to have them out here and then, follow up with a meet and greet. So we'll have like I said, we've got multiple gubernatorial. Well, we've only had 3 gubernatorial candidates here, right? Tom Leonard, Eric Nesbitt, and Mike Cox. So those are the 3 that have been on here. So we'll include those and anyone else that, if Ralph wants to come in here or, I've invited Carla and Anthony Hudson. So I've, Ralph Rebrandt has to, John James, I've invited multiple times. I haven't gotten him. So I have to reach out to Ralph. I've tried to kind of find a path to him and I haven't found one yet, but I'll see what I can do. But anyway, I would like to have him out here too. But like I said, this table's balanced. Everybody can come, if they want to. If they don't want to, then that's okay. But, I think I'm not inflating the importance of this podcast because I don't inflate that. But I will say that Livingston County is a big Republican batch, right? And yes, there are big Republican batches in Oakland County and other places too, but Livingston County is a big Republican hub. And so, we might be a little town out here, but this little town carries a lot of Republican votes. We carry Republican water. So it's, I just don't understand it not being worth somebody's while to come out here and meet us. So, it's up to them. So anyway, anything else going on other than the potential Christmas party? So kind of circle in December 11th, Thursday, December 11th, somewhere, hopefully downtown Howell. I should know that from Stephen probably by tomorrow. And then I will send out postings and whatnot and have that on there. It'll be open to everybody. So that would be the right time if you got a Republican neighbor, a Republican friend, a Republican family member, a conservative coworker, or you just, know somebody that you think, boy, this person would be really good to be in our party. Reach out to them, bring them along. This would be a great time to meet them. So anyway, we're going to call it a night, I guess, unless anybody else has anything else to say. This is good conversation, good questions tonight. Again, I'm kind of appalled at what poor Tom has to go through. I just so appreciate he's so willing at any time I ask, hey, Tom, can you come on the podcast and explain what happened? And he's always willing to. And, that kind of public service is admirable. So hats off to him. I appreciate him. I appreciate him, and his transparency coming on here. So, okay, everybody have a great night. We'll see you next Tuesday right here.